evening, everyone, and thank you all for joining IDRA during this 50th anniversary archives donation. I feel just honored to get to be a part of IDRA's legacy. I mean, that's what this is. At a moment when books featuring LGBTQ stories, books by authors of color, and books that teach the truth about this nation's history and current moment are being banned in our schools, when students are facing unprecedented challenges after COVID-19 and after that pandemic exacerbated what we all in this room already knew to be true, and when public education is quite literally under fire at the Texas State Legislature, I'm reminded of why it's critical that we remember and embrace IDRA's legacy as a champion for the civil rights of students and education equity. In the most difficult moments, when it starts to feel like we are literally fighting the exact same battles we were fighting 50 years ago when IDRA was founded, I reflect on my time as an IDRA Education Policy Fellow, and I think about the way that in some ways, the fight never changes. We will always have to speak our truth to power. But in some ways, the fight does change. It gets stronger. Specifically, I'm reminded that on one of the hardest days at the legislature, when particularly racist anti-CRT legislation was being debated in committee, our supervisor, Morgan Craven, took our cohort of education policy fellows, all Black and Latinx, to her favorite place in the building. It was the place where a framed photo of the class of Texas senators for the 60th legislative section in 1967 hung, featuring Barbara Jordan as the only woman in a sea of almost all white men. There, we reflected on how difficult it must have been for her to walk those same halls as a Black woman over 50 years ago, and how despite that, she fought for marginalized and low-income Texans for her entire life. And we left that place refueled by an understanding that our work and our very presence in the halls of the legislature continue to build on Barbara Jordan's life work, on IDRA's legacy, and we push forward. Every family that participated in IDRA's advocacy efforts around expanding excellent and equitable opportunities for emergent bilingual students and immigrant students. Every student that joined IDRA's Student Advisory Council. I mean, IDRA is trailblazing, bringing in people power as well, parent power, and every new IDRA Education Policy Fellow has changed the landscape of this fight. We remember the role of IDRA in securing rights for immigrant students in the courts, and also the role of IDRA in mobilizing families, students, advocates, teachers, to advocate on behalf of themselves and their children. The author Miriam Kaba reminds us that hope is a discipline. And I think she meant Texas, because hope is a discipline in Texas specifically. But to remain hopeful that we are capable of transforming the Texas public education system into one that actually serves all students equitably. To keep that hope, we have to work at it. We have to fight fiercely for it. And IDRA does that. We have to keep reminding ourselves that our organizations have helped usher in change that has been transformative in the past. I am so grateful to see so many people gathered today to celebrate the preservation of knowledge, struggle, and our history. These collections are representative of how far we've come and serve as a reminder of what's possible when we're organized and persistent in our push for